I want to do is I'm going to give in just a minute Kyle the floor because he is going to share with us how we can hack into our retirement account. When I say that, I mean normally the way that we look at retirement accounts, what happens is you have all of our money go to stock markets and mutual funds. It goes back in the rich people's pockets. That's why I really just, man, I hate that our money goes back to the rich people. So let's figure out a way so that we can make money ourselves, put our money back in our own pockets in our retirement account. And I have a great company that I've been partnering with, getting a lot of great information from them, number one, but also that's what they're coming on for, is giving us great information. But at the same time, if you need any help with that, they're here for this. But I have awesome person who really knows so much about the self-directed 401k, IRAs, and everything. If you have a retirement account, let's put it to work for you. So we have Kyle Moody from American IRA. Kyle, how you doing, man?
Hey man, Dustin, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. We look forward to everything we're going to be able to do for everybody tonight.
Totally. So let me go ahead and share or give you the ability to share screen. So as everybody's jumping on, when you have questions, throw them in the chat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you guys are chatting in there as well. Ask your questions in there. We'll have answers at the very, very end. And Kyle's going to go through a presentation. Hold off your questions, but put them in the chat, and then we'll get through all these questions as soon as Kyle's done. But we'll get done at the 8:30 or 9:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Pacific. We should be 60 minutes. But all right, Kyle, you're up.
Fantastic, everybody. And Dustin, can you see that screen there?
Sure can.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to be with everybody tonight. For those of you on the East Coast with me, thanks for hanging around. And everybody on the West Coast, well, welcome to being off of work here for about a half hour. So, whether we're catching you on your drive time home or if everybody's looking just to really have a good rest of the evening and just some good information that you can learn, we're going to be talking about self directed IRAs tonight. And so I hope we've got everything set up for everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and just start off with asking you one question. Okay. What if I told you that it was possible for you to invest in real estate? Okay. And any profits that fired off throughout the year, you don't have to worry about paying a dime in taxes. Is that something that would sound good to you? I mean, is that something that you would want to learn more about or tackle or put that in your retirement toolbox? Okay. So, in the world of real estate, let me go ahead and expand on that question a little bit. Okay. Single family, multifamily, residential, commercial, vacant land, whatever it would be that would fire off a weekly or a monthly income. Okay. So that now you've got all this income compounded at the end of the year and you didn't have to pay a dime in taxes. I actually asked that question the other night and I had two different types of answers. One was almost crickets with people trying to do the math in their head to really look at those numbers. And then the other group was really sitting there trying to figure out, is that true? I mean, that almost sounds unbelievable. Well, I'm going to tell you tonight that with a self-directed IRA or a solo 401k, self-directed retirement account through American IRA, it actually becomes a reality of how you're going to be able to take your retirement dollars, invest into real estate and or some other asset classes and use that to your advantage and be able to stave off the taxes. Okay. So let's jump into it and see what we can learn. One thing I wanted to do really quick is just a little bit of housekeeping. We do this in all of our events, whether you're on the phone with me, whether I'm on stage somewhere. It's just to let you know that I'm not a fiduciary. And by I mean that also everybody on our team. We're not financial advisors. So I'm not permitted to give you any tax, legal, or financial advice, suggestions, or opinions. You won't hear any of that tonight. Well, so then what is left? Well, what's left is what I actually like to do best and why Dustin and I actually developed this relationship is that I get to educate and I get excited when I can educate on things. And I'll tell you a little secret. I didn't know anything about this field, even in my real estate days. Okay. I actually learned it all from scratch. And 8 years later, I am now elevated to the point where I get to educate and inform folks of all of these great tips and secrets of ways, and it's not even really a secret, but it's a way that you can really use your money. This is going to be all about you and what you can do with a product that I don't even have to sell you. You already own it. It's your retirement account. But we're going to show you how to tweak that and how you're going to be able to grow it using more things that you know about other than the stock market, like Dustin was saying. All right, so let's take a look at something here. The other thing about this is that you're always encouraged to have your own professionals on board. Okay, remember I said I can't give any tax advice. So any CPAs, attorneys, people who are drafting anything for you, and make sure that if you feel that you need to go get someone or get someone different, make sure that they understand the nuances of self-direction. Okay, and how certain things can be shaped. Sometimes we will find out from folks that well, my CPA really doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. And that's okay. That's not a knock on them. It's just that this may not be their bailiwick on exactly how they know the tax strategies of using these retirement accounts. Okay. So, as Dustin said, I'm Kyle Moody with the sales team at American IRA. I've been there for 8 years, and golly, who's that guy there? Let's throw some hair on that guy's face, and it might look a little bit more like me. Not photoshopped, I promise, but that really is me a few years ago. And coincidentally, that actually really is our real office right there behind me. And the funny thing is, I told you that when I was learning about self-directed IRAs, I ran a property management company. I was a broker in charge, and I got to meet our my now CEO. And the funny thing is, my office where I worked and ran property management services for a lot of folks was literally right around the corner from this office. I watched this office being built, and now here I am as one of the pillars to get to share all of our experiences and information with you. So it's a real treat. And that office is actually located right here. American IRA is headquartered in Asheville, North Carolina. As you can see, that is not a photoshopped picture there, folks. That is a really colorful town. And you may have heard of Asheville late last year in the news when Hurricane Helene came through and really ravaged the area. Some of the areas will be 6 months tomorrow, believe it or not. And a lot of that area is really still hurting. So I will tell you that there's been prayers from a lot of you and Dustin's team, and we greatly appreciate that. And that office, if you look in that picture, just right over there to that tan looking hotel, about 2 blocks away from that is where our office sits. Okay, so beautiful area. That's where we are. And I show you this because I think all too often these days, one thing we're known for is being giving folks that hometown bank feel. And I think all too often these days, you wonder who you're calling or where a place is. I know that sometimes when I get certain folks on the phone, I ask them where they're located, just to, if nothing more than conversation pieces, right? But our office really is brick and mortar, open door policy. If you have an account with us, if you want to set up an account with us, you are always more than welcome. If you're ever driving through Asheville, you pull up and you can walk right inside and offer you a nice cool drink or a hot coffee, depending on the time of the year, and sit down with you and spend some time with you. And one reason I do this is I wanted to put this in all too often, when we're on stage or when I'm on city or regional meetings or on the phone with folks, people hear my voice, they see me, but I'm not at all of the work that goes in to take care of folks. And I wanted you to see our fun staff. And at some point, you saw in there a second ago where it says, we pick up the phone. Well, there's that office building again, and here's some of our folks at Christmas last year, ugly sweater, and there's me as the pink nightmare. And then here we are a couple months before that, Halloween and everything. But I don't know how many of them are listening tonight on the East Coast here. They've been off work for a few hours, but they know that I couldn't do what I do without them. And without them, then this presentation tonight just wouldn't be meaningful. So thanks again, guys. Hope we make you proud. If you were to call into our office, one of these people is going to pick up the phone. Okay. And that's always a great feeling because you know who you're going to be dealing with. And again, why did I give you so much information about us? I want to humanize our company and what we're about, because we really are, we work to a constituency of one, and that is no other than you, the client. Okay. It is very important with every call we take, with every person that we help. Every single person is different. Every investment is different. And so, for even though I've already told you a little bit about us, for the rest of the evening, it is all about you, right? And so, there's some topics here that I want to ask you about. Why are you here tonight? You know, for those of you on the East Coast that are jumping on this, there is a reason why you decided that 3 hours after your day ended or 2 hours after your day ended that you wanted to jump on this. There's a reason why you are part of Dustin's group. Okay. For those of you on the West Coast, you just finished. Probably the last thing you want to do is talk about self-directed retirement accounts at the end of the workday. But there's a why out there. So what is your why? Okay. And again, every single one of us is different. You know, do you want to invest in what you know? Well, if you are with Dustin's group, or if you're a client of ours or thinking about being a client of ours, you're already thinking, what are other ways to invest my hard-earned dollars outside of the stock market? And if you are already a property owner or an investment owner and you want to take that to the next level, you've got that knowledge. So now you're looking for something a little different or something more creative to put in your investment toolbox, right? If you are brand new at this, or even the seasoned investor, you're on single family residences, or duplexes or quadplexes, and now you want to go up to multifamily living, right? Maybe you want to scale it up. Dustin said it earlier, and we've surely been seeing this for the past 2 or 3 weeks, right? Are you questioning the stock market? Um, are you saying, well, I might not want to take everything out, but am I wanting to diversify my portfolio? Let these monies that are doing well for me stay there while I also see what real estate might do for me. And now I've got two account flows growing like that. And then some of the other questions that I get as well. Somebody will be on the phone with me, or I'll see them at an event, and they might pass me by a little bit, and I'll start talking to them like, oh well, man, I'm young. I just got out of college, or I'm not old enough to retire. Well, that's actually perfect, because it's that income that you're able to save and compound and start being creative with an account. Other times people will say, hey, am I a little too old? Am I too old in my investment game, or am I just too old in age? We're going to look at a lot of those things tonight, and I will tell you, I've heard these and thousands of questions more over the years, and I'm going to show you that depending on you and how things are different, how something might still work for you by investing with a self-directed IRA. And one more thing, if you just hang with me for just a little bit, we've actually got some things, and I don't know if Dustin talked about this earlier, uh, but we do have some things that we're going to be offering to you as early as this evening. Some great information for you, and then a really cool freebie out there as well. So we'll get that to that in just a little bit. Um, One more thing before we really jump in and talk about the meat and potatoes here. If you see me sipping the hot tea or coughing a little bit, we had to push this a week. I came down with something bad last week, and it tried to come back on me. So really, this will be the last talking that I do at the end of the day. The one thing that keeps me going is this is what I love. So hopefully the voice is going to hang on. If I'm coughing for a little bit, we'll take care of that. So I appreciate your patience and indulging me for a little bit. So, all right, here we go. So what is a self-directed IRA? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this. An IRA is an IRA is an IRA. So an IRA that you might have with Fidelity is going to be the same IRA that somebody holds at Edward Jones. And believe it or not, it's going to be that exact same IRA that we can hold at American IRA. Okay, so Kyle, so what really is the difference? All right. The difference is really going to be how things are custodied. Okay. This is the ability for you to start looking at things that you might understand a little bit better than really why one stock might be $10 a share as opposed to $12 a share, right? So if you look at investment options on traditional IRAs, more of that traditional financial planner house, that's where they're, excuse me, going to be investing in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, right? So those alternative assets is going to be, instead of, you know, Apple stock. Well, here you're going to be investing in like 1255 Apple Street, right? And then, as we've talked about, the volatility of how the market can be going up and down. Well, if there's a dip going on with the market, I kid you not, that's when our phones start ringing more. All right. People are going to put their money into the self directed IRA because they know it's not growing unless they're working it, but they're also not losing anything either. And then some of the different, or one of the main differences that people really like is that, with your advisor, and some people may say, well, Kyle, I've got a self-directed IRA. Okay, well, tell me about that. Well, it's at Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley, and I tell my guy what to invest in. Okay, well, that person's going to be taking your direction, but then also kind of, you know, playing the numbers as well too, making an investment. And here's one of the keys: think about how you pay for that as well. Nothing against it, but that person is providing a certain service that, as it pays off, will, even if percentages are small, they're taking your money on that growth, is right. And that's exactly what Dustin was talking about earlier. So one of the beauties of the self-directed IRA is that you are actually in more control, and those costs are going to end up being lower. Okay, great. Excuse me. Here we go. Now, some of the things that I'll get asked. Okay, well, Kyle, I've got all of these different types of accounts. They're spread out over different companies. So, what is that really going to look like when, how am I going to self direct that? Does it just poof automatically become self directed? Well, no, not really, but we have all the mirroring types of what you may already have. Okay. So, of course, over here on the right side, the traditional and the Roth, obviously, are going to be more of the more popular accounts are the ones that folks have. And even if they had an old 401k with a previous employer, if they have rolled that, some people will call that a rollover IRA. Well, it's rolled into a traditional. If they also had some post-tax funds, Roth funds in that 401k, then that would have probably been rolled into Roth as well. So actually, it's not uncommon for one old 401k to roll into two different types of accounts. And I'll actually stop here for just a second and tell folks one of the questions I will get, and I'll ask you if you still have. Well, actually, I'll start the question like this: do you know if you were separated from your place of employment from 4 or 5 or 7 years ago? Do you know if your retirement dollars are still in that 401k plan, or have you already rolled them over? I can't tell you how many people can't answer that question. So if that's you, you're not alone. All right. And I'll be more than happy to help you walk through that on a call one day. Second of all, I ask people this. Okay, well, and let's say if they do know that they've got the 401k still. Okay, well, how are your funds laid out in that? Are they only traditional funds, pre-tax, tax deferred? Or do you have some Roth funds in there? Is it all a Roth 401k? Or do you have a smattering of both? Even a more difficult question, simple question to ask, people really do have to look back in there and really see how their money makeup is. And so that's one thing I would say. That's the way to start before even thinking about taking these dollars and how they can trim down into a self-directed IRA to be able to invest in real estate. You need to know what kind of funds you've got sitting there, and then that's going to help springboard you to how you're going to be able to use them. One of the other things that can really be a topic in its own thing, Dustin has this back. There's a couple of things that we can really break out on this, but it's called the solo 401k. And the one thing I'll tell you about this, the solo 401k is the most powerful retirement vehicle out there. It is for anyone that has their own business with no full-time employees. Okay. You have to have your own company, no full-time employees, no W-2s. You can have some independent contractors. If your spouse helps you with the business, that's great. Those are excluded in that. Okay. Much higher contribution levels, has a built-in Roth component to it, and it is the only retirement account that allows the account holder to loan to themselves or to their business for whatever reason. Okay. Again, that's all I'm going to say about it because you can really get into the weeds about it. But for anyone who's a business owner on this and your investment business counts, then you want to consider that as well. That is something that we can pick up on a call after this, and I will give you all the differences and show you how that works. For anybody else out there that doesn't have their own business, but does or has their own businesses, but with employees, there's employer-based accounts out there, SEPs and Simples. For anyone who is looking to build accounts for their kids, almost like the 529 state plan, if you've heard of those. Well, more on the private self-directed, and you got the Coverdell. Okay, smaller amounts that you can contribute each year, but at least it's available. For folks that might have their own company and they've got the HSA plan, well, you can have the self-directed HSA. And then for folks to say, well, the only account I really got, my aunt passed away a few years ago. She left me this. Believe it or not, you can self-direct that. You can self-direct that inherited account. Now, you may not be able to make the contributions into it, but you can use it to grow it. And that's a really great tool as well. For folks that are married, the second spouse doesn't work, not a problem. You can also have spousal accounts also. Everybody gets to win on this and use this. These accounts can work in conjunction with each other, and that's something else we can talk about at a later time as well. So it's really cool. So I wanted you to be able to know those types of accounts. Now, you start getting into it, and the great thing is, let me just show you this really quick. Any of these accounts with American IRA, one of the things that we're going to offer you later is that you can open up any one of these accounts tonight, tomorrow, next week. There's a way that you're going to be able to open up any one of these accounts, and we're going to waive your setup fee on that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the teaser right there. This short end is that you can have any one of these accounts that you want, and we're going to waive your setup fee on that. Okay. Now, when you do get your account open, obviously we've already been talking about that the most the biggest asset class, the number one asset class that people are going to spend their funds on is real estate. Okay. Now, real estate is so multifaceted. People will say, hey, I need to get my money in. I got to get my account set up, get it funded. I'm getting into a real estate deal. I'm a curious guy, so I'll dive in sometimes. Be like, oh, well, what are you looking to do? Because it is so broad, the things that you can do in real estate. Okay. And there it is right there, real estate with a self-directed IRA and an account that you don't even have to pay to open up yet. And we don't even charge you an annual fee until the day you do your first investment. You can invest in anything that you see here with this account. And would it shock you to hear that you can do it for $285 a year? Well, that's no kidding. That's what our fees are, and that's what they've been for 21 years. And I'm going to give you some cool information on that as well. So hang around. You're definitely going to want to hear that. I wanted to tell you a couple of things too about lending right under real estate right there. Keep your eye on that. We're going to come back to that, and I'm going to let you know how you might find out later, or you might be joining us tonight, and you might be like, golly, Dustin is awesome. His program is amazing, but I just don't know if real estate is me. Or you may have been something that, been the investor that did real estate for a number of years, and you're just like, I just don't want to get back into it. What else can I do? Well, there's an app for that, basically, right? So if there's something else you want to do, we're gonna help you do that and see what that might be. One thing I do want to bring to your attention over here, and again, this can be its own topic, but I did want to bring it up to you so that you can see it. And it's this over here on the right side at the very bottom, you're going to see Checkbook Control LLC. Okay. Now, the term on the street, like I like to say, is if you've ever heard of the Checkbook IRA, that's it. What it actually is an IRA owned LLC. All right. So your IRA is the single member to this LLC, not you personally. It is an arm's length still an asset class inside of your IRA. And that is going to be highly encouraged for folks that are going to have more time is of the essence type of investments. So someone may call and say, I'm doing this real estate deal, but it's tax liens or race to the courthouse steps on foreclosures and things like this. So what can I do so that, because I've heard that it might be time consuming if I'm going through a custodial admin staff, and it can be. I'll go ahead and be honest with you, it can be. It takes about 4 days on some of the turns. But if you are utilizing the Checkbook IRA, that IRA owned LLC, and the reason that it's in here is because not only is American IRA one of the few companies that even allows the use of them anymore, we actually have an in-house affiliate company that can set the whole thing up for you. Okay. All under the umbrella, one-stop shop. And that is something that if that interests you, we will definitely set up a call to discuss that like we can anything else on there. Okay. So really quick, we've talked about the different accounts that you can open up, and now you've already started seeing here the different things, excuse me, excuse me, that you can do with it. Now, there are some things in here. I didn't say it earlier, but I go ahead and bring it up now because if you can use the terms IRS and gift in the same sentence, if that's actually possible, well, that's what they've done. The IRS is giving you the ability to invest in the types of things that you just saw. Okay, so it really is cool. It's not so much of what the IRS says that you can do with your account. It's just a handful of things that they say that you can't do on here. I put up 3 topics here and we can expand on them for just a little bit. Like, for example, I'll give you one that I hear at least twice a year. Somebody wants to invest in a condo in a college campus town. Okay, right? Uh, Great investment, whether it's the entire building, duplex, what have you. About 5 years later, the kid wants to go to college there, and they want to stay in that condo. Parent wants to put the kid in the condo, maybe with some roommates. Everybody else pays the rent. Kid lives for free. Can't do it. And why? Is because the second thing there, the kid is a disqualified person. Okay, there's disqualified parties to your retirement account, and you are number one. All right, so the account holder, disqualified person, you can't sell something to yourself. You can't loan to yourself. All right. Other disqualified parties to your account, your spouse, any entities that you control. So that LLC that you might have, or the business that you have, and you got the solo 401k, you can use it to bring in your income to make your investments. But you can't use those same investments if you have a property management company, all right? And that's what you use to make the income, to make your contributions into a solo 401k. You can't use that buildup of those funds to buy a piece of real estate that your property management company then manages. See, it can't be the revolving door on that. Can you reside or work on a property owned by my self-directed IRA? You can't. For example, can your IRA buy a hunting camp? Absolutely. Can you be one of the ones that goes out and joins your friends on the weekend to shoot something? Nope. You can't use a property that was purchased by your IRA. Another example on this one is really cool. I mean, I could see it right as the guy was laying it out for me. He had this, he was out in Texas and he had this property. He had this big farmhouse and he had this really, big hill, and it went down all this nice farmland, and he got down a, picket fence and everything, split rail fence, excuse me. There was somebody that had this neighboring property with this goat barn down at the bottom. Guy's vision was to buy that property, and he was going to turn it all into a weekend dog park, or kind of like a weekend with Sparky or whatever, where somebody, it could be a vacation retreat for dogs. Okay, and I said, hey, you had mentioned earlier your dogs that you had. Are you ever going to let your dogs go down there? And he said, man, how did you know? And I said, well, yeah, I hate to tell you, your dogs can't go and stay, even if you paid for them to go. Because it doesn't belong to you. Anything that you ever buy with your IRA, any money that you loan out, it's not you personally loaning it out. It is not you personally buying the property. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your retirement account. And one more quick story, and I'll tell you this, and then we'll move on. One of our clients, eastern part of the state. Again, we're here in North Carolina. Excuse me. What, he's got his primary home. He lives in this neighborhood. 2 houses down, he's got a house that he 100% owns with a self-directed IRA. I'm like, well, how does that work? Like, I mean, I know how it works, but like, you pull into the neighborhood one afternoon, summertime, you know, grass is long, a light is out or something. Now you hope it looks perfect, but tenants sometimes might not always look like a pamphlet cover, right? So I'm like, well, how does that work? And he said, you know what? He said, it's really simple, Kyle. He's like, I know how hard I worked for my retirement dollars. I know how hard I've worked to grow my wealth and my different properties. As I pretend that house that's 2 houses away is actually 8 states away. He's got a property manager that takes care of everything, doesn't send him the money on the rent. It all comes into us where we deposit that into the account. So that's a really cool example as well. And one of the things too, remember I told you a few minutes ago that this is all about you. So let's recap for a second. Okay, Kyle. Yeah, I've got a 401k. I haven't given that much thought to it. I've got some IRAs. I don't give that much thought to them. I mean, let's be honest, folks. How many times do we get those hundreds of envelopes? It seems like a month that come in. We either rip them up and throw them into the trash or put them through the shredder or whatever. We don't even open them up. We don't pay attention to what the retirement is. This is one that you're going to pay a little bit more close attention to. And this is where you really start finding out, how does this apply to me? Like if you wanted this to be applicable now to what you want to do, and we touched on it, how I don't know if real estate's for me. So if it's not for me, then is this for me? Well, sure. What you got to find out is you got to ask yourself, what's your niche? What do you like? You saw the list of the things: real estate, private lending. Hey, do you want to get into crypto? There's a way to do that. You're going to have to use the LLC to do it. Precious metals. Do you want to partner with other folks or other organizations? Syndication deals, okay? Private equity investments, private entities, and being using your IRA as an LP that invests into a larger fund, okay? It is so cool, all the different things that you could do. And I wish I could almost give you the phone numbers of our clients so they could tell you about a lot of their success stories, but it's confidential, so I can't. But that's why I want to try to give you some input on what they're really doing and how they've been so successful. Because one of the things that you might see here is that, no, the real estate's not for me. So I'm going to tell you about another one of my friends really quick. This is a guy. Remember, I told you I was a property manager, managed a property management company in town. And so that's how I actually got to know him, was through that, through the real estate days. And then as my track, well, and to tell you, he was big into mobile homes. Okay, well, as you know, it's not really what you make, it's what you keep. I mean, that's really kind of the theory behind investors, right? I mean, that's why we were built by investors for investors, because we know it's not what is somebody's going to take to pay themselves. It's really how much you're going to be able to keep by using the right type of program. So he was always hands-on his things, or he joined his contractors out at the properties, and then I would manage the properties and everything. And so we actually bumped into each other when I came over to American IRA, and he walked into the office and was like, "Oh, well, it's great. It's great to see you again, and this and that, and here's where I am. Sorry I couldn't tell you I was leaving. All that kind of business stuff." And he was telling me about his new thoughts of what he was going to do with his self-directed IRA. He's going to buy another piece of property. And I said, "Hey, and I don't know what made me ask him this, but I was like, hey, by the way, I know how you operate with your properties, right? Just keep in mind the rules are different. Like you're the same dude. You're buying I mean, the same type. Everything's going to be the same, except with this, you can't put the sweat equity in now. No self dealing. You can't broker the deals and take a commission on this." And he's sitting there and he's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do now?" Okay. Now, if you're asking yourself that question, I was in that position standing right in front of one of my friends, and it simply became, well, have you ever thought of pivoting your thought a little bit and maybe getting into private lending? That's an option that people have with self direction. Now, notice I'm not telling you or guiding you or giving you the advice as this is what you do, but here's how important this was. He started podcasts on private lending with his self directed IRA, and that's all he uses it for. So it's a win win because he still is able to find his properties, broker the deals, put any of the sweat equity in on those all he wants to, because those are outside of his IRA. He now uses that income from that business to fund his self directed IRA. And now the investments he makes with his self directed IRA are not in real estate. He private lends out that money as a hard money lender, basically. His IRA is now the bank for a lot of other people, right? And his niche was this: he's well known in the community, all right, in the investment community. A lot of people want to be like him, but they might not have that financing to get started. So he can now coach them a little bit and also set up these loans. So now while he's out doing his day to day or on vacation or whatever, his notes are paying in. And just the same way that you're going to do the due diligence on a piece of property, right? Having your inspections, you're going to do your due diligence on your borrower. What's their pay history? Who are some folks that you can speak with? Even though we do unsecured and secured notes, are you going to secure this up? What's going to be the collateral? The attorney is going to draw all this paperwork up, and then it's going to be a transaction with us moving the funds to the attorney's office without you touching anything. Therefore, no taxable event. And after these notes are paying in, or after this rent is paying in, it doesn't go to you. It all comes back to your self-directed retirement account, where we're putting that into that account, and it's going to grow for you. Okay, so I just, if one aspect doesn't sound like what you want to do, don't close the doors until we have a conversation or till you do some more research to find out what does really work for you, because again, it's your retirement account. Okay, your dollars and your investments that you're going to be making. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples of how this is going to look, because now got the account types, got the different things that you can do in it. But again, some people may be like, all right, but how hard can this be now? I just give it to a guy, let him buy my Apple stock. How am I actually going to buy a house with this? I don't want you to get into the weeds and overthink this, because it can really be this simple. Your money is sitting at Edward Jones in an old 401k. That's going to be a rollover into a brand new self-directed IRA. And you're not going to touch the money from them to us, no taxable events. So now your account is open and it's funded. And then what's left is your investment. So here it is. Your IRA buys the house. Okay. And we're just going to go ahead and give you the example that you buy it 100% from the retirement account, which also means that, okay, is it going to need to go through any upfitting or maintenance or anything like that? Fine. Perfect. Now, the self-directed retirement account is an inanimate object. It can't have conversations with people. So obviously, you are able to go out and hire contractors, let them walk through. People are going to bid the property. You choose somebody, they do the work. There's an invoice that comes in. If you're going to have a property management company that's going to manage this property for you, smart play to do that, by the way. Let them handle 100% of the problems for what, 10% of the rent. Okay, not a big ask on that. And then all those net monies after they collect that rent, pay off any bills for the month, all of that, every single bit of it, not can, it must come right back into your IRA. Again, you don't own it. So you can't take any income from that, from something that you didn't do to earn the money. It all comes back into that retirement account where that's going to grow. Okay. Now, again, it's like I told you, real estate might not be your thing. Okay, Kyle. Well, then, if I wanted to say be a hard money lender on something like your buddy, what does that look like? Well, guess what? Here you go. So if you're going to do a loan from the self-directed retirement account, it is just as simple. Okay, there's going to be a letter of direction on that. Call it a direction of investment letter. All right. There's going to be different packets that you'll be able to use with your transaction specialist in our office to get your deal set up. You've already had a meeting of the minds with the borrower. Both of you know the rate and the terms and so on and so forth. Probably got the attorney already set up, drew up the paperwork and everything. In just the same way, we're going to wire the funds from the retirement account to the attorney's office for the closing on the real estate. Same thing with the secured note, right? The attorney's going to close the deal. The borrower is going to make those payments every month. They're not going to make them to you. Again, they're going to make them right back into the retirement account where that's going to grow. So again, here's when you're buying the real estate with the retirement account, and here's when you're going to buy, or when you're going to do the note with the retirement account as well. And of course, I know that there might be some questions popping up, and Dustin's keeping up with those for me. And we're going to cover this here in just a little bit. Not much longer, but the biggest thing that you can get from this is what we talked about: big profits, zero federal taxes. And I'm going to go ahead and take all of this and I'm going to shrink it down as much as we possibly can to say old 401k from a previous employer, current IRA, or starting one from scratch that you're going to make contributions in. Okay. That's the three ways that the funds are going to get in. It's going to either be a rollover from a 401k, a transfer from a like to like, wherever the money is coming from and getting to us, you're not touching it. Okay. So it's staying in the vacuum of a retirement account, of a qualified plan. Then you're going to direct us, excuse me, folks, you're going to direct us to close on the property, or to send the money to the attorney's office for closing. Okay, whether that's going to be the note, the tax lien, sending the money over to the LLC, whatever the case may be. Again, you don't touch it. You direct us to send it from the custodial trust accounts where it's going to go. If it is cash flowing, any profit in any way, it is all coming back. And again, that's all going to be set up in the paperwork of how that's going to work. But just know that now the money is coming back into the retirement account. In no direction did you ever touch anything. And that is the beauty of the self-directed IRA that you can have to make sure that you're not going to get hit with any of these taxable events. Okay, it's a really cool thing. See, it is, sometimes it is fun to be doing stuff like this in the later hours, right? And now with everything that you've heard, and then here you have it, it's self-directed. God, I don't know, I still don't know if I can do this. And you know what? If this was the first time you were hearing that and you did think that you could do it, well, number one, I know that you can, but actually you wouldn't be alone on that. All right. And you're not going to be alone going forward either, even though it's self-directed. We have so many things that we offer, and we're growing it all the time. This is just some of the new stuff that we have out there, to compound with the old education that we have, the library that you can always go into our website and check everything out. Okay, old articles, YouTube videos, and now the emergence of the Investors Roundtable. This is super cool. It's a networking event. It's live. The next one I want to say is April the 7th. There are folks that will actually get in. It's going to be Zoom based, and it's cut off at 50 right now, so everybody has some time to chip in. You're giving your elevator pitch. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. So if you've ever been to a RIA or any of these other types of meetings where they have like a haves, needs and wants, you're gonna have that. Hey, here's why I'm here. I'm new. I'm here. I've been doing this for 20 years. Kind of want to get back into the game. I want to see how I can help other people. There, right there, is that networking, whether it's halfway across the country or if it's somebody that's sitting in your living room right there telling you how they can help you. Invaluable. Dustin can attest to that. Live webinars. Okay. If there's a topic that you want to be able to see, jump on and reserve a spot for it. Go ahead and RSVP, even if you know that you can't make it, because Jasmine, she's awesome. She's not on here tonight. Well, she may be on here tonight, but I couldn't do any of this without her. Trust me when I tell you that she makes me look really good. But she does these live webinars. Um, Even if you can't make it, or even if you did make it and you just feel like you need to hear it again, she's going to rebroadcast that out to you. Okay. Again, for you by people that were once like you and are still like you in their investing prowess. For any of the ladies that we have on here tonight, number one, welcome. And we learned, this is actually when I met Dustin down in Atlanta, found out at FinCon all of the different ladies groups, the investor groups, and they're very, they're very tight. Really, ladies only. We have a ladies only gathering that Jasmine runs. I'm the sales manager. I'm not even allowed. All right. So but it's a really cool thing, and I'm totally fine with that. If you do have any questions, though, you've got the information that you're going to have here shortly of how you can get in touch with me. And kind of rounding it out here, this is really it. This is where I know this seems so cliche. Apply, fund, and invest. It's that easy. Because guess what? It is. If you want to get started, it's a simple application that you're going to see here in just a second. You're going to fund that account after you get your account open with us. And again, remember, that's the rollover, that's the transfer, or the contribution. Again, there's nothing to sell you. You've already got the product. It's a retirement account. What we're doing is unlocking your mind to know that you can invest in so many different things just by adding this product that you've already got and taking those same funds and here invest them in things that you want to really diversify that portfolio and let that retirement take off in so many different directions. The other thing about American IRA, there's two things that people will always tell me on the phones. And if you haven't heard it already, or if they've been with other companies, they'll tell you this: American IRA has got some of the lowest fees out there. I don't say we have the lowest because anytime somebody can cut something just to get somebody in the door, but I know that they're going to escalate them. But I actually, on the next slide, what you're going to see is our actual fee schedule. I didn't want something that looked fake. And so I told Jasmine, I said, you know what? We're going to give them the actual fee schedule because I want you to see that these are the same numbers that this is our 21st year in business. Remember what I said earlier that you can have an account for as low as 285 a year? Well, there it is. 285 a year flat fee when you do a transaction, 95 bucks. A transaction to us is the purchase or the sale of an asset. Now, for the person who might be doing 2 or 3 or 7 loans a year, or 2 or plus something a year, we have an unlimited 450 a year. Again, flat fee. Neither one of those is assessed until the day that you do your first movement of money. Let's say you open up an account tonight after we hop off. Okay. We're going to waive that setup fee, as we already talked about. And then number two, when you get the account open, even when you get it funded, you're not paying an annual fee on a cash only IRA. You can go 4 months until you do your first investment. You're not paying either one of those fees. And the day that you do your first transaction, then depending on which option you chose, is going to be the day that is assessed. That's your anniversary date with us. And every year on that date is when you already know that that's what you're going to be assessed. Now, everything else that some people who have been with other companies or have seen other fee schedules, they're probably looking at this going, well, where's the rest? Because if you actually, when you actually see this on the application, this is page 4 of the application. Okay. This is only half a page when you actually get to it. The only other thing that you don't have on here is a couple signatures and whether you want to choose if you want your fees paid by a credit card or the undirected cash in the account, right? All these other things on here, it's like an a la carte menu. If you've ever been to Ruth's Chris, if you don't want the cream spinach, we're not going to charge you for the cream spinach. Anytime you ever see an invoice from American IRA, it is only, again, remember, you're in control. It is only what you asked us to do. And if you want to see more, then you can see the whole thing right there. You can either click on that with your phone. I'll leave it up there for another couple of seconds, or it's going to be page 4 of the application anyway. All right. All right, man. Freebie time. Hot off the press, maybe a little bit lukewarm right now, but I will tell you that until this evening, no one has seen what is going to be on that first thing there, the American IRA magazine. Okay, so that's going to be our newest document to hit the press there. It's a really cool read. It's going to cover actually a lot of the things, if not more, with some case study in there. So I encourage you to read that if it's something that you want to learn more about. And this too, we always like our clients at the beginning of the year, excuse me, to be in the know. So we'll always kind of research some things and throw things out there. Again, it's not advice, it's just solid IRS numbers. And that's what you're going to see on those 2025 IRS regulations on that. Okay. So it's really kind of all drawn down onto a really cool form for you there if you have any questions. And I tell you too, if you want to really see, if you're in your early 60s and you want to see, and you've got a solo K, or if you've heard some of these really neat numbers of what the IRS has said that a solo K can do for folks this year, that's it. So you'll be able to